Looks very professional.
Alright, just trying to get a bit of that fireplace in there for you guys.
How's that? Better?
Yeah, we got our campfire chat started. Carl, go for it. Take it away.
Okay. Welcome to live broadcast, HerdTracker live broadcast brought to you by Make It Kenya. And it's a pleasure having you. We just returned from our evening game drive, and we spent some time with the Marsh Pride. And we've got a couple of guests here with us. Mark Boyd from Sala's camp and the Safari Collections, and Moses, who's his head guide on that side. And listen, we've been working together for quite a while on HerdTracker. And first of all, from our side, we want to say thanks for all your support and updates. And welcome at Governor's Camp. And tell us more, Moses. You grew up here, so you're from the Masai Mara. You literally grew up here since you were a child, and you're working for Safari Collection at the moment at Sala's camp. And tell us about the Mara and why you are still here.
Chris, thank you, Carol. Well, just a little bit to share about my own biography.
Yeah.
Born and raised here in the Mara, about 29 years now.
Wow.
Old, and I'm a Masai. So well, I grew up in a humble ground, a pastoral family, close to the Masai Mara Game Reserve, in a place called Ondeseret. And since I went to school at my early age, but actually in a fun way, because in most of the times, in our culture, and especially a few years back, like 15, 20 years back, most of our parents were really not willing to take us to school.
Yeah.
So it was through the government enforcement policies that they say that through the chief, every family has to send at least like one kid to school.
Okay. So one of your siblings would go to school, and were you the lucky one?
So it happens that probably I was the lucky one because my father chose me, and I went to school. Started up in 1992. Went through the whole education in the Mara from grade 1 to grade 8. High school, I went to Nara, and college school, I joined the Koyeki Guiding School, which is part of the tourism sector in the Mara. Koyeki Guiding School itself was developed through concerns of Kenya Wildlife Trust, European Union, Task Trust, and a lot of community corporate efforts to come up with the school. After sort of like an interview with the local communities of how they reassess the benefit of tourism within the host communities, which are actually the Masai people in the Mara mainly.
Yeah.
And they came to find out that very little that the community, which are actually the host for wildlife, are getting out of the tourism industry, of which is within the ministry.
Okay.
Being actually the most conservationists, being the protectors of this wildlife, the only thing that they were getting was competition for grass for the livestock from these animal harassing them.
Okay. So we have you. So this is your land. It's Masai land, where we are now.
Yeah.
And the efforts of conservation and land sharing has brought us to this point where we have conservation and what we call multiple land use all in the same area. You know, so we grazing cattle and we have Masai within the Mara Reserve, and we're also conserving animals and looking after wildlife.
Yes.
And that's wonderful. I mean, and that's great. And the Masai in general, are you guys happy with the current arrangement and everything is?
Very, very happy. Just coming to other concept was actually when the school developed, they came actually with an idea that the only way to actually empower these people is actually through education.
Okay.
The best way to empower someone is through education. So they developed the schools, which the first priorities were the local people who has got the qualifications and the interest to join the tourism industry. And I was actually the beneficiaries of the school.
All right.
So having been the beneficiary of the school, I graduated in 2008 from the training school, and got an opportunity to work with the Safari Collection portfolios, and based me at the Masai Mara, which is actually on the southern part of the Mara Game Reserve.
All right, so
a few meters and probably a kilometer away from
inside the border.
Serengeti. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So Sala's camp has been looking after a fairly remote part of the Mara for HerdTracker, and Mark, you've been sending us great imagery and wonderful updates from Sala's camp. In between playing volleyball in the Sand River.
Yeah.
And,
With
and
crossings
so
in the background.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so, and you've had a wonderful year. Probably one of the better years for Sala's camp migration-wise.
We've had a fantastic year, an absolutely fantastic year.
Yeah.
It's been an unusual year. We had huge herds of wildebeest around the camp in April, which is very early. They just popped over the border for a couple of weeks, and we were surrounded. And then they went back south again, and then they came en masse, Moses, I think in June, came back again in June.
Yeah.
And for a couple of weeks, they were right on the border, following the Tanzania, Kenya border, not quite making up their mind which country they wanted to be in. And with our location down in the south of the Mara, away from everybody else, we were very lucky to have them pretty much to ourselves for almost a month.
Yeah.
Before other people started cottoning on and coming down to join us and coming to see the south of the reserve. And they've stayed with us most of the season. We've been watching them from the mess, from the lunch deck, enjoying the herds. The Sala's pride, our lions there, have been enjoying them as well.
Well fed.
Yeah.
Well fed.
Yeah, looking fat actually.
Yeah,
and raising lots of cubs and growing bigger. So it's been a great season for us and good to see.
All right, perfect. Mark and Sala's camp, generally, just in short, and this is very generally, the migration, although there would be eastern herds going up the eastern side of the Mara, the bulk of the herds traditionally would go up the western side towards Kenya and then come back the eastern side. But this year,
completely the opposite.
Everything the wrong way around.
Yeah.
You know, exactly.
They all came in where we are,
east, yeah.
and some have been leaving in the west.
Okay.
So we haven't been seeing them leave, but we saw them come in for a good couple of months, and we had some fantastic crossings on the Sand River this year. Really, really good to see.
Well, absolutely wonderful. And Moses, guiding and where you are now in your life has been an incredible story. Anyway, you know, for growing up in the Mara itself, and as a young kid, you were looking after your dad's cattle and so forth. Not too far from here, is that correct?
Yes, we live like close to the edges of the park. Well, despite the fact that not knowing that in most of the places, like at those days, like 5 years ago, before changes in land use, whereby the whole area, like even outside the park, was just looked like the park because it has got no any distinct boundaries.
Yeah.
Wildlife are also existing outside.
Yeah.
So I came up with one day when I was actually looking after my father's herd, and it happens that I actually tried to go into a small cotton bush, which is just adjacent to the herd, and to find some rungus. A rungu is the club.
Okay.
Actually, that is we are fond of like catching, and some sticks for the cows. Okay. So by bad luck, when I tried to get into this cotton bushes, slowly walking while I was at the age of 12, 5 meters away lies 12 lions.
Oh wow! So you bumped
All
into
around.
a fairly large pride of
Pride
lions.
of lions,
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
So-
And you were how old were you? then?
12.
12 years old.
Yeah, lucky enough, in most of the time, they haven't seen me coming, so they were all surprised to have seen me very close to them. And in fact, what they did is just rush and
So you both got an equal fright.
yeah, exactly. And I was frozen, a little bit screamed,
Oh, wow.
and went back slowly to the open place where I joined my hand.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you grew up in the Mara as a child, and you are more or less one with nature, and that's why Sala's camp and the safari collection they're so lucky to have such knowledge and Masai guides and so forth. And Moses has been a good guide on your side, you know. I'm sure. And,
Moses for us is a fantastic guide. Moses is one of those guides that as a manager you love because you send him out and he wants to be out there all day. And in fact, there are days when I have to remind him that some of the guests don't want to be out there all day with him, and he needs to bring them back for lunch.
To eat something.
And sometimes they want to relax a bit in the camp in the afternoon. But yeah, it's fantastic for us having guides from the local area who grew up in the Mara, on the edge of the Mara. This is their home, and you see that in their guiding. They're so proud to show their home and to share it with people from all over the world.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, and we shared a wonderful crossing this morning, just before you arrived, And for us and for HerdTracker, Kenya is, and the Mara is an incredible destination, you know, and we have had many happy clients and throughout this past couple of seasons and so forth. And just in the first 2 days, we've had incredible sightings. You know, we spend the afternoon with the marsh bride, which is going out on a hunt. You know, we've had a 20-minute crossing at the main crossing point, not too far from here, and we had a wonderful afternoon. You know, and Moses, I take literally my hat off to you for spending your life in the Mara and adding a lot of value to clients' experience, you know, especially visiting Sala's camp and so forth. And Mark, thanks so much for looking after the southeastern corner of the Mara for us with regards to updates. You're fairly isolated there, but that's part of the beauty of Sala's camp. Is you pretty much have that corner to yourself, which is awesome. And thanks for all the updates and keeping us in the loop.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
It's been a pleasure seeing where those wildebeest are and seeing when they're coming our way, and just following your updates and seeing our updates and our pictures getting out there.
I remember like about 2 weeks before the migration arrived, and I was like asking Mark, this year the migrations will actually delay because we have had fairly good rains almost everywhere, and the grass are almost 6 feet tall.
A lot to eat this year, huh?
In Serengeti too. And he just said to me, but I'm sorry, they're just few kilometers behind the hills. I was like, what?
Yeah.
They're just coming soon.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like a big surprise.
So now at the moment we have the herds heading down towards the southwest, you know, which is probably where they were supposed to come from, you know, 3 months ago. So I'm sure our friends in the Mara Triangle will be happy, and so forth. And luckily enough, we're going to broadcast for another 5 days in the Mara. And Moses, we're going to send you up a balloon in the morning. We spoke to Governor's Camp, and they were kind enough to offer us a little balloon flight in the morning. And we've decided for all your hard work, we're going to reward you with a balloon flight in the morning. And you must please let us know what the Mara is from a balloon basket. And Mark, it's wonderful if you can join him. And thanks very much for joining us here this evening. We really appreciate the 2-hour horrible drive from Sala's camp towards us here.
It's a pleasure driving over here.
Yeah, no, it's hard work, you know. And I think we're going to sign off for our broadcast tonight. And we're looking forward to an exciting day tomorrow, starting off with a balloon launch. And then we're going to go and have a look at probably one of the last kind of crossings. Probably there would be crossings for another few weeks or so, but they're getting few and far between heading south, and we'll have resident herds of wildebeest remaining in the Mara as always, with 1 or 2 of loiter herds maybe still around, but I think the bulk of the kind of the Serengeti migration, or the big migration, looks like they're heading south. And luckily we're here just in time. Thanks to HerdTracker for telling us where to find these things. And so from HerdTracker, live broadcast from the Masai Mara, brought to you by Make It Kenya. Thank you very much for listening and viewing, and we see you in the morning.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Wow, shot.